القرآن حل ليالنا بالقيام أهلا أهلا بالصيام يا رمضان يا رمضان شهر الرحمة والغفران مرحب مرحب يا رمضان أهلا أهلا بالصيام. You told me you were here for 30 days to shower us with mercy just like rain.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and welcome back. So we are now joined by Coach Yusra. Sister Yusra has been a very popular member of our tribe, mashallah. She's been always coming in and out, so she's a familiar face to you. But I'm sure that you'd like to know all about her before we start. So after nearly a decade in IT with degrees in computer science, Coach Yusra left technology to start Fitshatzi Fitness and Nutrition. I'm sorry, I always say it wrong, but I tried my best. As a personal trainer and nutritionist, she loved seeing clients succeed, but then she noticed that many would regain the weight, which sparked her curiosity, which led her to then earn her master's in psychology. And I know, mashallah, she worked really hard on that. I was with her with that journey last year, mashallah, cheering her on all the way. But in her psychology degree, she looked at focusing on behavior change to coach it in a way that can provide lasting results, which actually works on the mindset rather than just the weight, isn't it?
All the nutrition, yeah.
Whole weight loss, yeah. And now she helps busy women take charge of their health sustainably, no guilt, no extreme, so they can lead by example and build habits that fit their really busy lives. And subhanallah, just, there's no favoritism here, but like Coach Yusra has really helped me with my journey.
Your busy life, alhamdulillah.
With my busy life, with my busy kids, and with everything, subhanallah. And I actually, like we were just talking about this before we started recording, isn't it? But just like leading by example and being the example for your children. And we spoke about this in one of our talks last year as well, about what they see, what you want them to see, and be that example that you want them to see, right? So
what they catch from us, because again, our kids don't really do what we tell them to do. They do what we do, right? They're catching from us. So that is so important, especially as a homeschooling mom. As you know, so my kids are around me 24/7. And again, this becomes even more important in terms of, hey, what are they catching from me? What language am I using, right? How am I talking about my body? How am I talking about nutrition? This is so key, right? How am I talking about how I feel about my physical looks? How am I handling anger? How am I handling emotions? Our kids catch all of these things from us. So yeah, absolutely.
definitely. And we're excited to talk today about food as a fuel for worship. I love this when you sent this through.
I know. And again, like I told you before this conversation, Sarah, I feel like, you know me, I'm always off script all the time. I feel like I would prepare something, then when I talk about it, I totally go off script. So forgive me for that. But I feel like a lot of us are aware of what to eat in Ramadan. Do you know what I mean? You go on Google and talk about, hey, what should I eat for iftar? What should I eat for suhoor? Like, obviously, we're going to touch on that. But I feel like our biggest challenge isn't the information, but it's actually the implementation of that information. Do you know what I mean? How do we act on that? Like you, mashallah, you've had amazing speakers. We spoke about Ramadan last year and the year before that, right? We're giving information. But unless we actually take that information, internalize it, and act on it, it's useless. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
useless. So my advice to every amazing Muslimah who's watching this, we can sit here and throw information at you. Powerful, evidence-based information, right? But unless you actually internalize that and actually go, yeah, actually, have the intention of making those changes, and then intention is not enough. going further and putting action steps on, okay, this is my intention for Ramadan. How do I increase my chances of actioning it? What kind of systems can I put in place to
Yes.
make sure, right, I put myself in the best position to act on this on this intention? And again, subhanallah, again, you walk towards Allah, Allah runs towards you. We know this, right? So when you find out you have that intention and you have the plan of action and you're taking it, you're starting to build up one day at a time, one day of Ramadan at a time. You notice yourself starting to make these tweaks and changes, and before you know, it's like, oh my God, who am I?
Changed.
Change. So what I want this conversation, I kind of steering it is towards, okay, we have this amazing information, which I'm going to talk about, but also how can we internalize that and build those habits? What kind of things do we want to think about around this information as far as Ramadan is concerned? Yeah. How does that
Yeah,
sound?
absolutely, absolutely. Obviously, it would be nice to hear from you what you think, what good ideas might be.
So for suhoor, it's very much around, okay, I am going to be, especially us in the West, we have longer fasting. I remember the time when we used to fast for 18 hours, like,
Yeah.
wowza. Right? So we suhoor, okay, I have a long fasting day tomorrow. I want to think about, okay, what foods are, number one, they're going to give me the energy that I need, right? And at least help me feel satiated for a longer period of time during the fasting window, like slow release of energy. So again, your protein. So I would think about yogurt and eggs for suhoor. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I would think about the sunnah is milk and dates. What a combination. Dates full of sugar, right? Full of fiber, amazing nutrients, and milk is literally one of the most hydrating drinks you can have because of the electrolytes, the sodium on there, right? Amazing combination, amazing for suhoor. Oats for suhoor with milk is great. So think about your number one, what protein can I have, right? What complex carbohydrates can I have? Do you know what I mean? Like I said, your oats are great, wholemeal or bread is great with eggs, maybe. Makes sense? For
Yeah.
hydration, I want to think about milk, whole milk, skimmed, semi-skimmed, right? You can have your cookie if you want, but don't let cookie be the only thing that you have in that meal. Add it with some fiber on there, some protein on there. Make sense? Just to kind of, because again, I like to have my chocolate for suhoor, like, like, why not? Like, I don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? I know there's a lot of misconceptions around out there for stuff like that, but as long as it's about what am I pairing it with, right? That's what matters. Yeah.
That's what I was actually going to ask you about, because like literally you're the only fitness coach that I've ever met in my whole life that says it's all right if you have cake. But what really kind of interests me is about sugar in the morning. Like I kind of heard that you get like a sugar crash. Is that true? Is that a myth? Like
I think a lot of people over simplify what that means. It's not like you're consuming sugar, and we talk about what they mean by sugar. It's not like you're consuming sugar and then khalas, that's not how it works, right? Essentially, if you're consuming carbohydrates, whether it's your pastry or your cake or whatever it is, your body is going to break. And then cakes and cookies don't only have sugar, they have fat and all of these other ingredients, but somehow we forget, we just blame the sugar, right? Anyway, so the body breaks it down into glucose. Okay, the pancreas, again, we don't want a lot of glucose in our blood because that's not healthy for us. Our pancreas is going to release insulin. The function of insulin is to take that glucose and put it into our muscle cells, fat cells, and stuff like that. So when you're consuming carbohydrates, a normal response is, yeah, your insulin is going to be produced for the sugar to be put into the muscle cells, so your blood sugar is more balanced. Now, when you're consuming a lot of sugar on its own, in one sitting, it can be problematic, not for everybody. For some people, let's say with diabetes or pre-diabetes or insulin resistance, because what can tend to happen is your pancreas is going to go, oh my God, there's too much sugar in the blood, right? And it's going to release a lot of insulin. And because there's a lot of insulin released, a lot more sugar is removed than what's necessary. That's when you feel like, oh my God, I'm low, lethargic, lightheaded, right? But everybody is different. Not everybody is going to have that experience. What matters isn't just any sugar. No, is number one, are you just sitting there and having a candy for like a lot of candy in one sitting? Then that's not, forget the sugar crash. That's not exactly healthy anyway, right? But if I'm sitting here and I'm having my cake as dessert after having a meal of, let's say, my chicken and broccoli, that's not really a problem because my meal has enough fiber. So if you combine the carbohydrate that you're consuming with something that is high in fiber, shouldn't be a problem for the majority of people. So social media loves to oversimplify sugar crashes. It's not a scientific term. That the term is reactive hypoglycemia, right? And that is not really experienced by everybody. Everybody's sensitivity is unique. Some people can feel that, oh my God, I overate lunch. Now I'm like lethargic. Some people feel that way after consuming a lot of rice, let's say, right? Have you ever experienced that? They want to have a nap, right? That is a prandial sort of experience that they're feeling. So yeah, I think social media loves to oversimplify and scare monger people. Why? Because it sells. Like it sells. If I'm going to give you a program like, hey, this is going to balance your hormones, people are going to pay attention because a lot of people are struggling with hormonal imbalances. Do you know what I mean? So scaremongering, unfortunately, sells on social media. But what we want to focus is, okay, I can have my sugary stuff if I want, my carbohydrates, but how can I have it in a way that is aligned to my health? I'm going to pair it with something that has more fiber. I'm going to pair it with something that has more protein, because when you have the fiber and the protein, it slows down the digestion and it slows down how quickly that glucose gets into your blood. Make sense? So you don't have a lot of glucose in your blood at one time.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you for explaining that. Then what should we do then instead of drinking too much water?
I don't have a problem with water. Water is absolutely fine, right? But the thing with water is when you have, obviously we should hydrate with water, amazing stuff like that. When you have like a long eating day, you can eat all day. Sure, water is an amazing hydration kind of. But when you have a short eating window, like you're fasting 18 hours and you have like 6 hours to eat and drink and stuff like that, water isn't a great hydration drink because it doesn't have calories and it doesn't have any electrolytes in it. And also, have you noticed, if you have a lot of water in one sitting, what do? I don't know about you, but I go straight to the bathroom.
Same. But I've always thought about that. Like people always say, drink so much water. And I'm literally like, if you drink a glass of water with like nothing else, I just go to the bathroom 10 minutes later. Like, what's the point of it?
So there's a hydration index. There's actually like, it's been looked at which are the most hydrating drinks for people to drink to rehydrate. And semi-skimmed milk is the most hydrating. How cool is that?
No.
Yeah. And again, subhanallah, Islam tells us to drink like milk for suhoor. Like, how amazing is that? I'm so excited. But yeah, so semi-skimmed milk, it is because number one, it's got a lot of sodium in it. So when you think about a drink, you know, think about what drink has electrolytes, because that's what we lose, right? Dehydration is the loss of fluid, but also the electrolytes. So semi-skimmed milk is amazing. Orange juice is amazing. You can have your water, but add in a bit of salt in there, right? Coconut water. I love me some coconut water. Coconut water is amazing for Ramadan. So these are the kind of drinks that you kind of want to think about. If hydration is the key, yes, drink your water, but don't rely on just water to be the thing that hydrates you, because you're going to pee it all out, chances are, because of the short window that you have. But I personally, my preference is coconut water all the way. I love coconut water. So
Yeah.
for me, that's my
No, that's definitely, I'm going to put that on my list to buy because we like it as well, but we don't really get it. Like, I wouldn't get it for rehydration. I'd just be like, oh, I feel like having that. Like,
I like when it's nice and cold and
exactly.
So
But
for
it's
so
good.
for for suhoor, don't worry about sugar crashes and stuff like that next morning. Just if you're having your indulgences, make sure you're also having a balanced meal with it, your protein, your fiber, so complex carbohydrates and stuff like that, right? For iftar, like dates aren't a sunnah just for spiritual reasons. Like our deen, subhanallah, is so scientific. Do you know what I mean? Dates are there beyond spirituality. It's like it's a quick energy source. It's full of antioxidants, potassium and stuff like that, and a lot of fiber as well, right? So just that in itself, like start with a date. Let's give you a quick energy influx after a whole day of not eating. It's incredible. So your dates are amazing. And then after that, I want to share with you a story. One of the biggest, and we're going to talk about this in the next part of the talk, is me growing up. My dad has a ritual in Ramadan. Like my dad loves his ritual, and I've learned. As growing up, I didn't understand them. Like in the morning when he wakes up, he likes to have his breakfast in peace. He wouldn't look at his phones, and this is how I saw growing up. He just wants to be quiet. And as I became an adult, I realized actually that's him arming himself for the day. That's his time to prepare his mind for the day, subhan. I didn't understand that growing. I was like, why does Baba not ever wanna have a lot of conversations with us in the morning? You know? But now I get it. The guy is taking a lot on the day, and that's probably the only quiet moment that he has in the morning, right? And he's preparing himself for what's coming in the day. Anyway, so his Ramadan ritual is incredible. When he breaks his fast, he just wants his coffee. He's Yemeni. I'm half Yemeni, right? We love our black coffee. He'll have his coffee and dates. He'll sit there quietly enjoying his coffee and dates. Slowly, he'll wake up. He'll stand up. He'll pray his maghrib. Sit down. He'll have a shurba. Shurba is like an Arabic soup with made of wheat, right? He'll have that again in peace, slowly, right? Take his time with it. He's gonna get that removed, and then the meal is gonna come. By the time he has his meal, he hardly eats anything. He's taking time to eat. But what do we do when we're fasting? When we're breaking up? We inhale our food. Do you know what I mean? And the control he has, subhanallah, in his and this is the second part of the conversation. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but the control he has in his eating, no matter how hungry he is fascinating to me. It's still calm, it's still mindful, it's still controlled. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, like if you think about it, Ramadan is more than just abstaining from food, right? It's also how are we going to, it's about discipline of the whole thing, of the whole day. It's not just the hours you're fasting, but what is your discipline when you're eating, when you're breaking your fast? What does that look like? Do we have discipline around that? Or are we just thinking around, oh, I've fasted, great, I've abstained from food, now I can eat all the things, right?
Yeah.
So for iftar, like I said, your dates, your dates is the first thing, with water, with coffee, wherever it is. And then for the meal, a lot of us don't have this, but fruits is amazing to start. A lot of Fitshatzi athletes start with fruits because a lot of them, mashallah, fast Thursdays and Mondays. So they share their picks with fruits, delicious fruits that they mix up with sumac and salt. And it's like, oh, amazing, right? And then again, you still want to eat your protein, your vegetables. A lot of our cultures is fried after fried after fried. Again, I'm all about balance. I am not saying don't have fried stuff. Do you know what I mean? A couple is fine, but the majority of our eating during Ramadan is, if it's not fried, then it's sweet.
Yeah.
right? We hardly have enough wholesome protein. We hardly have enough wholesome carbohydrates like your vegetables and your fibers and all of these things. Somehow our Ramadan eating is almost the opposite of our normal day eating.
Yes.
And this really comes from that misconception of, oh, I've been fasting all day, I deserve this. No, you don't.
Mm.
The discipline that if you're fasting all day, we still need to apply a similar discipline after our fast. That mindfulness, which we'll talk about as well, still needs to remain, doesn't it?
But I think that, again, there's so many things in our traditions and cultures that have been useful throughout the years, and they've been developed over time, that we then kind of come along and go like, well, I know better, I'm not going to do that.
And
So,
yeah.
but I've definitely gone back to it. I mean, we do fruit kebabs as well, which is basically I let them stick it on a skewer.
Oh,
So
it's such a fun activity as well with the kids, right?
exactly. They love doing that, and then they'll eat it as well because they'll be like, "Oh my God, like I made my own, and this is my one, and that's my one," and they'll eat it. So I'm really glad to hear that fruit is a good, like a good starter to have, and that.
Including, yeah. And we're not telling, like when people tell you cut out fried food, I'm like, come on, like how realistic is that really?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's not about when people talk about nutrition. Unfortunately, a lot of nutritionists out there or people on social media, your gurus, when they demonize a food item, your sugar is bad, seed oils are bad. Do you know what I mean? All this, they forget about the three things: the dosage. How much in quantity are we actually talking about here for it to be bad? How much? Because a couple of cookies doesn't have the same effect as having 3 boxes of cookies. Do you know what
yeah,
I mean? What
yeah,
dosage are we talking about? What context are we talking about here? Has this person already had cake and a pastry earlier in the day? Then I would probably tell her, maybe skip the cookies because you already had it. But if they haven't had it, if their meals are nutritious and they're exercising and they're healthy, I don't have a problem with her having cookies. Do you know what I mean? So what context are we talking about? What population are we talking about? Are we talking about healthy individuals or individual with health challenges, metabolic challenges? Does this person have diabetes? Are they pre-diabetic? Do you have insulin resistance? Do you have PCOS? Right? Do you have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? There's a lot. It's not black and white. But social
yeah,
media likes you to think it's black and white.
yeah.
Everything is context dependent. But people don't talk about it in that sort of lens. It's very much have it and don't have it. And this is why a lot of people are struggling staying healthy, Sarah, because it feels like it's a mountain to climb. It feels hard. Hey, if I have to be healthy, I have to cut out my bread, my chapati, my cookies, you know what? This is what I eat at home. Khalas, I'm just gonna stay in this condition here. No, you don't have to cut everything out. It's just about understanding nutrition, how you can consume these foods that you enjoy, but in a way that is still aligned to your well-being. These two extremes where I'm not doing anything at all, I'm gonna eat all the things, or I'm gonna cut out all the things, isn't helpful. Like people are either at 0 or at 100. Whatever happened to the 99 numbers in between?
They cease to exist.
There's so much room and that's your flexibility is, that's your adaptability is. Do you know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's a bit of a rant, but as someone who talks to struggling women, struggling mothers, especially every single day, it's heartbreaking because they're made to feel like I don't have to cook for myself separately and my family. I don't have the time. I don't have I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 children. Who has the time to cook separate meals for? It's unrealistic, if that's okay. Like I mentioned earlier, Ramadan is not just abstaining from food. It's about building behaviors. It's an amazing time to learn how to build behaviors, health promoting behaviors, right? And this is beyond just not eating, but okay, how am I choosing to eat? Right? What kind of control am I going to have? A lot of people assume because they've been fasting all day, they need to eat all the things in iftar. Actually, No, your metabolism is actually slowed down naturally in Ramadan. Number one, chances are you're not moving as much during the day. I don't know about you, but I'm like, like, right?
Well,
My
yeah, while I'm at work, no, but yeah, when you get
right?
home.
Our activity naturally, because you're probably more lethargic, more tired, you haven't eaten, right? So you're not moving as much, you're not burning as many calories. And number two, because you're not eating in the day, the calorie that would normally be used to digest your food, you're not burning them anymore because you're not eating, right? So you fasting all day doesn't mean you need to overeat in the fasting window. You don't. So we need to also be mindful around that. We still want to consume, one third water, one third air, one third food. Like our and beautiful Dean teaches us that. You know, don't eat until you've stuffed yourself and you can't even breathe. You can't even stand up and go pre-maghrib because just you ate so quickly. Another point, ladies, let's chew our food slowly. Let's just pause there. Like, yes, we've been hungry. The adhan is there. Let's just sit down and go take a few breaths before we eat. Like, it's not going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So the pause, these behaviors that we can build. Okay, yes, I'm hungry, but I'm just gonna take my time and chew my food. Do you know what I mean? Slowly and enjoy it and mindfully. When we're praying, we have to be mindful, right? Eating is a similar, you have to be mindful when you're eating. A lot of us overeat because we're not paying attention to our food. And by the time you pay attention, you're already stuffed. Do you know what I mean? So chewing your food slowly, enjoy every spoonful, just enjoy it and be mindful. And you find yourself, actually, I don't eat a lot in Ramadan, Sarah. Like after the dates, I'm like, khalas, I'm full up. Like that's just, and for a lot of people, if they slowed down their eating, they would notice the same thing. A lot of the women I work with say, yeah, actually, the biggest impact my Ramadan has been is me eating slowly and chewing my food. I feel like I'm satiated a lot quicker because we don't need that much food. So just these behaviors around our perception of Ramadan, just because you're fasting all day doesn't mean you need to overeat. Number two, just be mindful when you're eating, chew your food slowly, and slow down when you're eating.
Yeah,
What are
definitely.
your thoughts around that?
Well, yeah, again, we went out yesterday and my family literally inhaled their food in front of me. And I was thinking to myself, like, do you not learn anything from me? Like, come on, like Coach Yusra's taught us this. Come on, guys. I remember like sitting there going like, wait a second, I've still got at least more than half my plate was still full, and they're all like sitting there talking now because they're finished. And I
Yeah.
kind of think that there's I don't know, like, I don't know if you've noticed yourself, but there's kind of a window of time where my kids are like really hungry. Like, and then if I miss that, like
Yeah.
after that, they're just like they can't be bothered to eat even.
Yes.
So like
Yes.
there's a particular time, and I think that in Ramadan I'm more aware of it.
Yeah.
Um, but obviously I encourage them to eat slowly, but it's true, it's just a work in progress, let's call it.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely. I'll show you a funny story about my experience in Ramadan. But don't do what I do. I tell people to chew slowly, but I just mentioned to you that I don't eat a lot in Ramadan because I get satiated really quickly. I have to eat really fast. I have to do the opposite because if I eat my food slowly, Sarah, I'm not gonna eat because
Mm.
I get so full up. And when my kids watch me and I'm struggling, and they're like, "You didn't eat fast enough, huh?" My 9-year-old will go, you didn't eat fast enough, huh? Because but that just goes to show you the impact of actually chewing your food slowly and how and what the opposite impact can be as well. I am someone, because I know my habitual sort of tendency is to, yeah, if I just go with how my satiety is, I'm probably not, I'm going to lose a lot of weight in Ramadan that I have no intention to lose, a lot of muscle that I have no intention to lose. I've worked really hard to keep. Do you know what I mean? So I have to do the opposite of a lot of people. Like, I need to eat super fast to make sure that I'm consuming enough calories, where other people's like, slow down. You know what I mean? So here's a tip for you. I'm sorry, my lovely, but if you're like me, who's finding yourself on the end of the scale where you want to keep your weight and not lose it, maybe try that tip to eat a bit quicker.
I'm not there yet, but yeah, inshallah, I'll keep it in mind. Shall we talk
Okay,
about
so
the
yes,
activity?
activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people think, Khalas Ramadan, I'm just going to pause on my workouts. Actually, your workouts are even more important in Ramadan, because they are going to help you get that the energy boost that you need. And also, from a consistency perspective, if you're someone who started a health and fitness journey, let's say 6 months ago, taking time out in Ramadan the whole month, that's going to really impact your consistency and the momentum you've built, right? As far as your health and fitness is concerned. So during Ramadan, it's not about stopping. It's about, okay, how can I train and stay active? Because number one, it's going to help me boost my energy levels during Ramadan. And number two, it's going to keep me strong, because if I want to pray Tarawih and stand for 20 hours, I mean, for 20 rakats, I need that strength. Do you know what I mean? So that maintenance of fitness level is very important. What you want to think about is how you can merge it into your day. There isn't a perfect time, right? It's just the perfect time per individual, depending on the time. For like some of the athletes, they're like, okay, Yusra, after I break my fast, my nights are busy, kids, family, the mosque, and all of these things. So for those, I'm like, okay, how do you feel about training, let's say, an hour before you break your fast, right? Just train for maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It gives you half an hour to prepare for iftar, and then you're eating straight away anyway, so that's fine, right? If they can do that, amazing. Other people can, like me, I can't train fasted, because most of my workouts are resistance training, lifting weights. I can't lift weights fasted. Some people absolutely can lift weights fasted and they're fine, which is pretty cool. I can't. So again, if you're like me, you can't. It's like, okay, what time can I make between iftar to before going to bed to get my workouts in? Training in Ramadan isn't about going all hard. It's about maintenance. So even if you're working out for 10 minutes, that's great. That's fine. That works, right? The idea is to stay consistent. If you've already built a good routine, and also it's going to help you with the energy levels, keeping up with your physical health, making sure you're not losing muscle mass and stuff like that, because that's important. So don't stop. Don't stop your, and also because we are not consuming a lot of calories. I mean, we're not eating over the course of the day. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a subconscious reduction in movement. You find yourself you're sitting down a lot more. So for me, I have to consciously get up. Remember to get up, and this is where having a smartwatch. I wear my Aura ring, which keeps me in check, right? Having a smartwatch, like, oh my God, I have to get up. You have those smartwatches that give you a reminder, get up for it. Is it time to get up now? Go for a bit of a, so even if you're 2 minutes here, 1 minute, they just walk around, just keeping the step count a bit high, keeping your movement consciously high, because subconsciously you just want to sit down, but keeping your movement a bit high over the course of the day can actually help you, giving you that the energy boost. And also, a lot of the tiredness you feel in Ramadan, I feel like it's perception as well. Have you known, if in my head I'm telling myself I'm gonna be so tired in Ramadan, I bet you I'll feel more tired. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? A lot of it is like I am the most energetic half an hour before iftar. Like, where did that come from?
Yes.
Why? Because in my mind, I know I'm gonna eat soon. So khalas, do you know what I mean? So a lot of that, check in with yourself. Am I actually physically tired? Or is this my mindset and my perception? Because I already told myself I'm gonna be hungry. I promise you, if I tell myself I'm gonna be hungry in Ramadan, I'll be starving from the moment I wake up. Well, on a normal day, it's what? Almost 2 p.m. and haven't eaten anything. I'm fine, right? But if I'm fasting and I'm telling myself I'm fasting and it's going to be hard and I'm going to be hungry, I will be starving from the moment I wake up. Our mind is powerful, Sarah, extremely powerful. So again, what language? That's another important key. What is the meaning of Ramadan to us? And how are we perceiving this period of not eating? Is it me, oh my God, I have to be hungry again? Or what kind of language are we using in terms of how we feel about the fasting window, and how we feel about the period of eating, and all of these things? That is super important to kind of step back and reflect on and think about. Yeah. Like my 7-year-old, Aya, she's 9 now, mashallah. She started fasting a full month since she was 7. And I don't know how, I'm like, I'm here, تعبان يعني, I'm here like God. She's jumping around, like possible. And again, it goes to show you. And here's another thing. I have a lot of conversation with women where like, oh, I can't say no to cravings. I'm addicted to sugar. You know, the whole thing. And I'm like, how, I'd like, you're Muslim, you fast Ramadan, yeah? Yeah. Uh, how do you handle it? The whole fasting window. Like, I don't know. I don't have, like, ah. So because our purpose in Ramadan is so much deeper, we can handle not eating all day. But come any other day, we're snacking every half an hour because we are addicted to sugar. Like, do you know what I mean? So the purpose, like I told people, look, you don't have a food problem. Like, it's not like you're hungry. What are you using the food for? That is the problem. What is the purpose there? What is the reason there? Do you know what I mean? But that's a whole different conversation. But this just goes to show you the whole like mind of a matter thing. Absolutely. It's so powerful. Our minds are so powerful.
Allah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been such an insightful journey. Alhamdulillah, as always. I was talking to Coach Aisha just earlier before I did yours, and I mentioned this to you earlier, but I'll say it to everyone as well. Like, being the person that gets to interview all of you and do all of the videos with you, like I'm having my own Ramadan retreat right now. And I think that it's so important that we all go through this, and it's so important that we would love if you sisters that are listening right now would be able to share, subscribe to our channel, like it, and just find that one sister that you know sometimes struggles with her food in Ramadan, or find that one sister that you know she wants to keep up her fitness but she's not sure how to, and just maybe share this video with her so that inshallah we can help more sisters. And we really want to do these for free. We want to keep it for free forever, and we are going to be as time goes on releasing all of the old videos to make everything free and accessible to everyone. So we just need to do that, and we can only do it with your support, sisters. So Coach Yusra has also given a freebie, which name I've forgotten. What is it called? Menopause.
Yeah, nutrition. I think nutrition around menopause. I think a lot of women that I work with are struggling with weight gain during this period. So the honestly, get the video is really informative in terms of what is the truth, the science behind the weight gain. Do we all have to? I'm perimenopausal. I'm turning 43 this month, Sarah.
I'm
Inshallah.
a year older than you.
Oh my God. So yeah, I'm a perimenopausal. A lot of women I work with are perimenopausal. So it's very much around, yeah, do you have to gain weight during perimenopause, or what does the science tell us? What are the actual changes that are taking place in all of these things? So it's a really, really cool sort of mini masterclass. So highly recommend you have a look at it, inshallah.
Yeah. And you can follow Coach Yusra with her Instagram links, and all of the links that she's given us will be below in the description box. And please remember to comment if you've got any questions, or if there's anything that came to mind that resonated with you, just comment below, and Coach Yusra will be online on the day or the day later whenever she's free, inshallah, to reply to you and inshallah help you more. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for joining us, sisters.
Assalamu alaikum.
مرحبا